Hello everyone, I am back and today we are building a wedding venue in the world that comes with my wedding stories. I think it's called. Um, I would say the name of the world, but I just feel like, to be honest, I just don't know how to pronounce it. I'm not sure how to pronounce it properly, and I just feel like if I tried, it'd just sound pretty bad. So we're just going to stick with that. Um, but yeah, so I knew that I really wanted to build a sort of like chateau type castle-y kind of vibe building with like a courtyard. So I really wanted to have a courtyard because I've seen loads of like images of like destination weddings with these courtyards and all these really pretty lights, and I just knew we get some really good lights with the cottage living pack, and I just thought, right, really want to do that. But then I also wanted to have this like a church sort of like up on a hill so that you'd get married with the sea as your backdrop. So yeah, they're the two things I knew I really wanted to have in this build. And this lot I'm using here, which is called Villa Vigna, I think, which is like it's up high, so you get that really nice view of the sea behind. It's a perfect lot to use. The only thing is it's a little bit small for all the things I wanted to put in. So I managed to fit everything in you need for a wedding, and like the idea of what I wanted to build is all there, but yeah, it's a lot smaller than I wanted. I wanted like a massive courtyard, a massive space for them, for the Sims to be like dancing in the evening and just having a really good time. But yeah, it's a lot smaller than I was envisaging, but there we go. I really wanted to use this lot, so I just had to do it. So yeah, and you can probably tell that this build is how it looks right now is very different to the thumbnail, and that is because when I first started building this, I don't know why, but like I think my head was like a bit of a jumble, and I just couldn't like put down what I had in my head. And I've tried all different wallpapers, all different stones and shapes and things, and I just, yeah, I don't know, like it just wasn't working. So this is the first session I did building this, and you can see I'm using like the archways from vampires, and this like it's a much more orangey tone, almost a stone, which as you probably saw from the picture at the start, I completely changed it, and the shape of it, because at the moment it just feels really symmetrical. I don't know why, just too symmetrical. So yeah, like I say, it does change, and you've probably seen that, but all in due time. So yeah, so basically I just was building this, really wasn't working. I just couldn't get what was in my head down, so I ended up just turning it off for the night and go to bed and started afresh the next day. And sometimes you just got to do that to just like clear your head, to just be able to just do it. Like I don't know, like I just had to clear my head basically. And yeah, the next day you'll be able to tell where it suddenly cuts into the next day, because I suddenly just like know what I need to do. But yeah, so yeah, I'm using these pillars from vampires as well, and I don't know, like for me right now, just not working, really just not working. And yeah, I'm just glad that I changed it all, because looking at it now, that is just not the vibe that I was going for. Much more, I wanted it to look old. I wanted it to be like this sort of castle, chateau, villa, whatever you want to call it, that was very old, and obviously the church is very old. But yeah, I don't know. I think I made it look a bit too old almost, if that makes sense. But yeah, but like I say, it changes. So, and what I'm doing here with the stairs, I mean, this is one thing that really frustrates me, is we have this really nice pair of stairs, from Jungle Adventures, really nice stone stairs, but there's no railing to match. Like I want like a really nice stone railing and like to go down the stairs, the banister with, but this doesn't exist. So what I did there, I just used like different height half walls to just create this sort of like walled effect. Because like I say, it just really frustrates me that we just don't have one that works. So yeah, but now you can see suddenly everything has changed for the better drastically. So yeah, I go much more white stone. I take off one of the like towers, so it's not symmetrical anymore. I just think it looks so much better. Change the archways to the ones I originally picked. It's always the way. I should have just gone with my gut instinct to start with. And those archways I think are really, really fab. I really, really do, from the high school pack, I think. And I just think it really works with this aesthetic, because obviously this is kind of, I'm getting sort of like Mediterranean, Italian, south of France vibes of this kind of villa. And I just think that archway really, really works because it's like looks stone. I don't know if it actually is, but to me it looks like stone, and it's a really good colour, really goes with the sort of like stone I've picked for the outside. So yeah, I really love those, really, really do. And what I'm doing at the moment, sorry, it's like so repetitive, is these little stones I put on. I do this quite a lot. I think a lot of builders do, to be honest, because sometimes I just feel like when you have a stone building, the corners can look quite bare. Like I find on a lot of stone buildings, there's a lot of emphasis on the corners, and there is like different stone used. And I know there are some wallpapers that do that. I mean, not that they fully work, because sometimes you end up not having the corner piece where you want the corner piece. But anyway, there we are. So at least with this, you can pick exactly where you want the stone to be. So yes, that's why I do that. And I'm changing the stairs here again. Like I said, a lot changed from the start of the build because it wasn't working for me. And this, I changed the stairs to basically just take up less space, because I realised like I just wasn't going to have any space for my courtyard, my beautiful courtyard that I really wanted to make. So I realised that would be better, and I'd be able to fit more in then. So now we are finally starting to spruce up the place. I'm starting to put a few more little details in just to make it look a bit more realistic. And of course going to start doing some landscaping. I call it landscaping, but to be honest, I start with the like planting on the little flower beds at the front, and then obviously putting a lot of flowers on the walls. I don't know why I always forget that these beautiful like ivy, I don't know what you want to call it, it's not really ivy, but these sort of like plants that go up the wall, that comes with the wedding pack. They're so pretty, and I think I tend to use the sort of just green ivy that I put on just there more in my builds. I forget that this exists, and I mean, this to me is quite like, it's very pretty, isn't it? Very not exotic, but on a lot of builds it wouldn't work because it's quite out there, but obviously for this it's perfect because it just makes it look so pretty. It just makes it quite romantic as well. And those trees, I forget they exist, those trees that are like flat against the wall, honestly I'm obsessed, and you'll see that because there's a few of them dotted around this build, because I just really, really love it. And mixing it in with the wisteria as well, I just think the more the better. I mean, I know it's not to everyone's taste, but I just love to see an old building like overgrown. I just feel like that's, over time, that's just naturally what must happen. I just think it just makes it come to life a little bit more, not so flat, which I think was my problem when I first started building as well, is that it just felt really flat, even though obviously I hadn't even really started like making it look realistic. I'd only just got the walls, basically, the windows and the basic shape, but I knew that wasn't going to work, so I'm really, really glad that I changed it to what I've done here. And actually it was strange building this because it made me realise, like, actually, because when I got married I would never have considered a destination wedding, and this is the type of building that I would see like as a perfect destination wedding. So when I see things on Instagram or social media, people have gone abroad to get married, like this is the exact type of vibe I see. Sort of like these older buildings that maybe are a bit sort of like rustic in design, a bit boho almost, just like quite relaxed and pretty and light and airy, lots of candles. But yeah, like I would never have considered a destination wedding. But actually, because we were due to get married in 2020, And obviously COVID happened, so we couldn't get married. And we actually ended up getting married like a very, very intimate wedding instead. Because I mean, I know every country was different, but here in the UK, you couldn't legally get married for a long time when COVID happened. So it wasn't until 2021 that they really, really started letting weddings happen. And because we had waited so long, it got to the point where, because we'd rearranged a few times, it got to the point where we really didn't care anymore about like how many people were there or having this big party or anything like that. We just really wanted to get married. So in the end, we did decide to just have a small wedding. I mean, at the time, obviously, that was legally all we could have, but we didn't decide to wait until we could have had a bigger wedding. We did opt for the smaller wedding, and honestly, like, we wouldn't change it. Honestly, it was the perfect day for us. And when we were like at the wedding, we were thinking, I can't imagine there being like, like more people than this. It would be so overwhelming. So actually it did work out in that way, but it just made me think when I was building this that actually, obviously, when you have a destination wedding, it's always going to be much smaller because not everyone can travel with you. So it's going to be your close family and friends. And actually that is honestly a really, really nice way to get married. So I now see the appeal of destination weddings. Before, I just didn't understand it. I was like, it just seems like, for one, it must be a lot of effort. It must be quite difficult to organise, but just the idea of just having everyone go on holiday together is actually quite fun. It must be quite nice. So yeah, when I was building this, I actually felt like, do you know what? Yeah, I'd like to get married somewhere like this. It would be nice. So yeah. And I've just talked all over doing those lights that I put over the courtyard. Now that is literally the only reason I made a courtyard. I mean, it's not the only reason I made a courtyard, but that was the inspiration I had to make the courtyard. Was I wanted to put those sort of like drooping lights all across, because in the evening, oh my goodness, it looks stunning. It really, really does. Wish it was bigger courtyard. As you can see, it's a bit of a squeeze. We've got the 2 long tables. Was hoping to have some more, and I also wanted there to be space for Sims to dance outside. I mean, they still could, don't get me wrong, but it's quite a small space. And I do end up having I haven't done it yet, but I do end up making sort of like a dance area inside, where the piano is at the moment, because I just felt like there wasn't enough party space as it is now for the Sims. Because what I put here is a sort of like nice chill out area that I thought, like, in the evening when maybe you've danced a lot or you get a bit tired, you come sit here by the fire, because I know it looks like a hot country. It probably is based in a hot country, but evenings can still get cool, especially, I mean, different times of year as well. So yeah, you could come if you're a bit cool and sit by the fire. I thought that'd be a nice vibe. But yeah, here I am moving the piano into the sort of entryway, which I thought would be quite nice to greet people, come in, and you'd also be able to hear the piano then out in the courtyard. So that was quite sweet. And then I make this here the dance area, and I sort of make this like plant wall, which I think is quite cool, sort of bringing the outside in. And then I put that logo up in the top corner, which in my mind is like the name of, like, I don't know, like that bar area, that sort of dance area, or like maybe the name of the villa, I don't know. But I also did want to put like a DJ booth, but again, not enough space, so I just put the speakers, which, to be honest, I felt like it keeps it kind of small, like you don't need to have this like big party. Like, you could just put your favourite songs on, which again is something we did at our wedding. We couldn't have a DJ, so we just had a speaker, and we just played like our own songs from Spotify, and then people could pick what they wanted to play. Honestly, it was really, really fun. It was literally like how you'd imagine a wedding to be, but just everything was smaller, so it's just less guests, and yeah, but we had all the elements of a wedding. So yeah, it felt like we had a massive party at the end of the night, even though there was like not very many of us. So yeah. And I'm just quickly doing some little bathrooms here, and of course I do put in a baby changing one, because I just can't stop using that now, because I just think it makes the bathroom look so realistic. It might just be me, might just be going crazy, but I really wanted to include one, so I made sure I could fit one in. And then on the upstairs here, we basically, again, I did want to have more space upstairs, because what I wanted was to have a few different rooms so that like guests and obviously the bride and groom could stay overnight. Obviously, because in my head it's probably a destination wedding. If people have had to travel here, you would all want to just stay there. You wouldn't want to have to then find another like hotel or other accommodation if you made the trip all the way out here. So I wanted there to be lots of like rooms for them to stay, but in the end I could just fit 2, and this is like the smaller one. Obviously it's just that, basically it's got a few of the like some towels like put out on the bed and stuff, and like a little rail there so you can hang up your clothes. Has a little balcony out the front, and then a bathroom, which I don't actually show either of the bathrooms that I put on these sort of like guest suites, I'm going to call them, just because they're exactly the same, and it's like I just think it's quite boring to watch sometimes, bathrooms, because they're just like, unless it's like a very, very special bathroom, which then I would show. But if it's just, because obviously it's very small, all I could fit in was a shower, your toilet and your sink, I feel like there's not much to show. But if you'd like to see them, let me know. I can include more bathrooms if you'd like, but yeah, I just felt like there was nothing special there, so I just didn't show them. And then this one I felt like is the sort of bridal suite, which I wish was a bit more like fancy, but obviously it's got the 2 stories, which is quite fun. I wish I could fit more in the downstairs, because I almost wanted to make it like like a sofa area where they could chill out, and then they've got the nice upstairs where they can sleep and everything. And in my mind it would be where like the bride would get ready before the wedding. So yeah, I did want to put like a big sort of like almost dressing area, so like table with a mirror and everything, makeup, all that. But I just didn't have the space. That's the moral of this build, is we just didn't have the space. But there we are. And then so I'm moving into the back area here, which I just wanted to be really, really cute and quite overgrown still, rural. I like the idea of it to just be kind of like maybe the old gardens of this villa from years ago, and obviously they used to have this like chapel that has got damaged in some way, but so it's sort of just like left as ruins now, which I mean that's what I was going for. And then obviously I used this little sort of like I don't know what you'd call it, but the little food store type thing, which I think is really cute. But yeah, and then of course I will put lots of lights out here as well, like candles, just so that in the evening it's really romantic, really lovely. But I just you can see there through the like archway I've left at the end of where the aisle will be, but you can just see the sea. I just think that'd be so lush to just for a couple to be stood there and like getting married, and then like behind is just like the sea. I just think that's really, really sweet. So yeah, I mean that's literally why I picked this lot as well, like I said earlier. So like I've just squeezed everything into this lot because of this view. So yeah, and making it obviously up on a hill, you just see so much sea. I just think it's just lush. So yeah, like I say, I put lots of candles around now, and I even put some, I don't think you see it in this video, because I do a bit of terrain painting as well off camera, but I put some candles as well up on the shelves of the sort of like open arch windows in the church as well, which is really cute at night. And then obviously you've got to use these festoon lights, perfect for this, to just drape across, and it just think it brings it to life really. And I just think in an evening, this build looks stunning in the evening. Taking screenshots of it, I was trying to take some screenshots of them in the evening, and it just looked, I don't know, it just looked you know what it can be like, it just looked really dark, but there we are. But yeah, so just putting some more lights, and I put a bit of terrain paint, like I said, off camera, and then this build is all done. So I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next one.